Right, everybody. So my name is Dr. Faraz. I'm PhD doctor, and I take regular classes for IELTS. And today also, this is one of the special classes that I've taken. I'm planning more classes like this over the weekends, or when we have long weekends, especially. I'll plan that I should give one free lesson to everybody. So this can be one of the opportunities, but then there'll be so many coming afterwards as well. So let me invite all these people first because we haven't started yet. So, and then the room will continue to be mute. Okay. So guys, let's begin with the introduction. What is IELTS reading? IELTS reading is something that assesses your ability to understand and analyze written English, right? So it's your skill, and IELTS reading is required both for academic English and for general English as well, for academic IELTS and for general IELTS as well. So, but in academic English, they require you to have better skills, since it's the skill that is required for reading for academic purposes, which means reading arguments, discussions. So it would require you to build a higher skill. So in other words, academic IELTS is going to be more challenging than general IELTS. So that's what they want you to have, so that you, if you go abroad, settle somewhere, you should be able to understand written material. The format of the test is that there are total 40 questions in the test, and you are given 60 minutes, right? Guys, please mute yourself. Thank you. Okay. Right. So it's 1 hour's test, 1 hour's test. But the problem with this test is it's not just 1 hour like as you would do at home. 1 hour in the real test condition means you would have already done listening test. And then after listening, there would have been gap of probably 20 minutes or even more. And before that, you must have gone to the center at least 1 hour before. So by the time you do it, you are there for more than 2 hours at that time, right? So Hadi, I need to give you before. Okay, maybe I'll arrange another class for overview of IELTS. This is exclusively for reading skills, so we'll focus on reading today. But in any of other classes, I'll try that I should give overview also. So what kind of articles they select? They select real articles. What do we mean by real articles? They do not write for IELTS purpose. So they select from journals, advertisements, academic texts, magazines, or maybe newspaper articles. So they take real and authentic material to test your language skills. So if you're a good reader, there is possibility you would have read some of the articles already, or maybe articles related to the topic. But even when the topic is relevant to your field, it doesn't mean you can actually do it pretty well. You once again have to read that again, because they'll be organizing questions in such a way that they'll be challenging for you. So there'll be 3 passages altogether, 1, 2, 3, and you'll be given 60 minutes for that. The first one is a lot easier. I mean, easier than the second one. But the last one, which is third one, that is more difficult. So let me give you one tip. How you should do on the test day. You should divide time like this. You should spend 18 or 17 minutes for the first one, for the first task, and you should spend 20 minutes for the second one. Can I please request participants to mute?
Sir, you can remove those participants who are not following the rules.
Right, guys. So let's continue. Yes, thank you for the suggestion. So solid understanding of English grammar and vocabulary is needed there. Now, let me tell you one thing. If you're a good reader in any language, if you're a good reader in Sindhi, if you're a good reader in Urdu, if you're a good reader in any of your languages, reading skills will certainly, those skills will certainly help you in doing IELTS English reading as well. So what I'm trying to say, do read as much as you can. Doesn't matter what language, but keep reading so that you should know how reading takes place and how you actually understand the text. Now, before I go any further, let me tell you one thing. Why reading is probably the most challenging section of IELTS, and that is because we haven't learned how to understand by reading. Let me explain what I mean. You know, we never read things to understand things. For us, reading is to be able to recognize letters and produce sounds. Do you remember in our schools, they would ask us to read, and that means we should stand up and then read fluently. Doesn't matter we understand them or not. So because of our teachers that strategy, we continue to face problem in reading throughout our life. But when it comes to IELTS reading, you'll have to relearn from the beginning various strategies to approach a text to learn the text. I hope it's making sense, guys. Okay, let's move on now. So what skills are we supposed to have when you do this text? You're supposed to learn how to skim, right? And then how to scan, how to understand main idea, and how to read for details, and how to understand opinion or attitude. Now, let me explain each one of them. What is skimming? Skim is when you look at the passage, different parts of the passage, and then you try to understand what this is talking about. So then skimming wouldn't require you to read one by one, word by word. That would be wastage of time. And skimming is just looking at some parts of it and then trying to understand what the message is behind it. Make sense, guys? Okay, cool. Then scanning is when you go for a specific information, like you have word in mind and you are looking for that only. So that is scanning, right? For example, from this passage, I want you to see how many aims are there. How many aims are there? Can you quickly aims are there? I want you to find how many aims are in the passage. Right. So what you did, you scanned it. You didn't read. You didn't read that. You just scanned that. You looked for aim, and that is what skimming is, right? Then if I ask you how many headings are there, how many points are there, how many bullet points we have put here? They are bullet 5. No, what you did exactly. So what you did, you skimmed that, right? What you did, you skimmed that. You didn't read for this purpose. You didn't have to see scanning, understand. What you did, you looked at that and you found the idea there are 5. So that is the difference between scanning and skimming. Why you should know it? Because reading will require you to adopt different strategies. So you should know what strategies you are adopting. Right, guys? So let's move on. These are question types that you will be asked. You should be familiar with all these questions. Why you should be familiar with these questions? Because in IELTS, you will adopt different types of strategies. You can't do just, if you're good at reading, that doesn't mean that you will be doing all these exactly well. No, you'll have to approach these question types from different angles, from different perspectives. So you need to understand all the types. These are 11 types of questions, and probably in one IELTS test, you'll get all of them. All of them. There are 3 passages and they'll have all these questions. Almost all of them will be part of that. And today we'll try to do some of them, if not all of them. We'll practice the important ones, and then you can do rest of the practice on your own later on. Now, if passage comes in front of you, what is the first thing that you will do? If this passage comes in front of you. So what you should do, you should always, now remember, note it down, write it somewhere, try to develop familiarity with the passage. Try to develop familiarity with the text. And how do you build familiarity with the text? You understand the main idea, right? And then you create a passage map. And why we call it passage map? Because you should be able to locate. Okay, first paragraph was talking about, let's say if it's a topic of about farming. So first passage was talking about food. The other passage was talking about grain. Then the third was talking about danger to food productions. Last one was talking about pesticides, and conclusion was talking about the future of crops. You know, this is a map. So if a question comes which belongs to future of the map, you won't have to go first passage, second passage, third passage. Am I clear, guys? It's really, really important. You should save time. You should develop strategies. You should approach IELTS in such a way so that you should be able to complete all 40 questions within 60 minutes. So what I said, develop strategies to map the passage. So if the first passages, there are 5 paragraphs, you should be able to know what each passage contains. And how do we do that? Can anybody write it to me? Can somebody tell me how do we do that? How will you build familiarity? And the passage reading will require you 20 minutes, right? The entire passage and doing all these questions. But you should not be spending more than 4 to 5 minutes for understanding, skimming what the passage is talking about. So how will you do it? What strategies you'll have? Anybody who is already familiar? By skimming through, exactly, that is what we call skimming. So what you do in skimming, you don't read. And one more thing before I forget this, please never read aloud. Do not read aloud. Like, don't even read like this. Like I'm reading one of the messages. Through skimming and scanning, we make it possible. Or even if you fumble, through skimming and scanning, what you do, you are reading word by word. That is wastage of time. Learn a skill of reading in chunks. Don't read, when you read silently, you read chunks. You read 3-4 words together. You understand 3-4 words together. But if you read aloud, what you do, you read word by word. So that will be wastage of time. So what's the strategy? First, do not read aloud. Okay. Second strategy is go read first sentence of each paragraph. Not the first line, first sentence of each paragraph. Why first sentence of each paragraph? Because first sentence of each paragraph will tell you what the entire passage is, what the entire paragraph is going to be about, right? And sometimes maybe you'll read last sentence of the paragraph as well. That is called topic sentence. That can sometimes topic sentence happens to be in the last sentence. So first and last will give you idea. One of them will give you idea, or both of them will give you idea. Normally, if I take percentage, most of the time, maybe 80% or 90% of the text, in 80 or 90% of the text, you will find topic sentence in the beginning. Clear, guys? Make sense? So you need to understand where the topic sentence is, and you need to differentiate details. For example, if I'm telling you, today I had a terrible day. When I came from I'm giving you example of a passage. Today I had a terrible day. When I came out of my home, my tire was flat. My car's tire was flat. And then when I went for a taxi, it took me half an hour to find one. When I reached my office, I thought there was no internet connection. When I went home, I also found there was no internet connection and even power was cut off. And then I slept hungry because I didn't buy food. My stove is electric stove and I couldn't eat anything. What was the idea? What was I talking about?
Interruptions of the internet.
Okay, can somebody else try? What is it I was talking about? What was it that, what was the main idea?
A terrible day.
So exactly, I was talking about a terrible day, and all other sentences were examples of how my day was terrible. Like my car's tire flat, one example. I couldn't get taxi, second example. I came here, there was no internet, third example. Fourth, I went home, there was no power and no electric, no internet, fourth example. I went to bed empty stomach, fifth example. These all were examples of that one idea. The idea was my day was terrible. So your skill is to understand, separate that one idea from 4 or 5 sentences, which are the sentences for detail. Am I making some sense, guys? Okay, cool. Then you need to. So did you understand that what I was talking about? You need to create a passage map, right? And what do we mean by passage map? Means you should be able to locate where information lies. You should be able to see where that idea is. Maybe when Dr. Faraz was talking, he was talking about terrible day. That was in first paragraph. So if there is anything negative which shows terrible day, you don't have to look for third, fourth, fifth paragraph. Any questions so far, guys? Now where we are. Can I please request everybody to, as soon as you enter the room, please mute. Any questions so far? Any confusion? So you will have to do passage mapping, and you will do passage mapping only by reading first sentence, or maybe in certain cases you'll have to read second sentence. Oh, sorry, the last sentence. But you should only do it. If there are five paragraphs, so 1 minute for each, 5 minutes in total. That's how you should understand. Okay, so create a passage map always, always, always before doing any question. That should be first activity. Now, you'll be wasting your time if you read entire passage. Remember, guys, in IELTS, you do not need to read entire passage. Never. Never. Why? Because there might be 1 or 2 paragraphs for which there is no question. So why should you spend your 5 minutes on reading a paragraph for which there is no question? So you need to understand what questions are and then read relevant sections. And I'll tell you how. But is it making sense? Let me repeat it. You do not need to read entire paragraph to be able to understand. Make sense? And why is that? It's because there might be some sections for which there'll be no question. So why you should read, and what's the use of it? You're not going to memorize. Is it possible to read and then retain that entire reading in mind and then answer questions? So sometimes people read that. I'll never, ever, ever suggest it. Although it can work, but you have to be extremely well at reading. Only then you read and then you write it down what this passage says, and then when you start doing question answers, you should be able to do it. It may be, but it will require superhuman beings reading skills, or a little less than that. Makes sense. Let me mute Mr. Sikandar Nohiri and Bashir. Guys, as soon as you enter, please mute yourself. Okay, so are we clear so far? It's more important you understand what I'm talking about, because these tips are more important than going forward and finishing everything so fast. Are we clear so far? Okay, there is a question. If we don't read entire paragraph, then how can we get the conclusion? We don't need to get conclusion, because IELTS exam will not require you to draw a conclusion after reading. There's no question about conclusion. If there is, you only need to read that conclusion section. So it's very difficult to get idea only to read 1-2 sentences. I'll tell you how it is. If in this class we are able to do only that bit, I'll consider this as a successful session. And Shahid says, sir, if you don't read entire, okay, I have answered that. Sir, first look at the given questions accordingly and we skim important points. Yes. How to read in chunks. You have to look at, you have to read by passage by passage. If you read silently, you can do it. If you don't do it silently, then definitely it's going to be a problem. Let me see if I have missed any question, because I really think answering your question is hugely important. So if I miss it out, I'm sorry, you have to send that sentence again. So are we clear, guys? You don't have to draw conclusions. So you don't read and memorize what the passage is saying. There's no question like that. Are we clear so far?
Yes, sir.
And you also have to tell me if I'm speaking too fast. I hope I'm not speaking too fast.
Sir, lecture is going well in that tone.
Okay. The questions are asked from the whole passage, but there is no question that will ask you draw the conclusion. Maybe it'll ask you the title, the theme, but that you can understand only by reading first sentence. Then you'll have to, if Norulan says, what if reading topic sentence of each paragraph doesn't work? Reading topic sentence of each paragraph doesn't work. It will work only in letting you know what the passage is about. So that's, see, do not depend completely on topic sentence. That will be a mistake. That topic sentence will give you an idea. You know what? Let me tell you what I'm trying to say. If I introduce any city, for example, the city where I'm living now. Now, if you start reading each one by one details, won't that be challenging for you? If I tell you in this region, we are going to focus on hospitals, isn't it easy to understand? Okay, that's the idea we need to catch. So what I'm trying to say, do not read all sentences to understand the paragraph. You don't need that. How to map the paragraph? We have to first read the questions. No, please do not read the questions first for all question types. For some, yes, you have to. For others, you may not. So that depends on the kind of question it is. So let's wait. When we'll talk about question types, we'll talk about them. Okay. Should we move on, guys? If there's no question, I'll go, sir. When we are not going to read complete passage, then how it will be for us to, by reading first sentence, we can create a passage map, right? I'll tell you how. So skim the passage, pay attention to keywords, important words are there. These are general tips, right? Read for the main idea. So you need to understand main idea and details. These are not same thing. Every paragraph will have only one main idea. 5 sentences, 4 sentences will be about that main idea. Your skill is to understand, to find out what is that main idea. Then be aware of different questions, as I said earlier. So your responses depend on the type of questions that are there. And then you can guess, predict. You can also write from your guess and I'm sure sometimes guesses can work. Do not leave the options empty. Why? Because there are no negative marks. Or maybe you'll be lucky. Can I request Oppo 2020? I'm muting you again and again, but it goes unmute. So please mute yourself. Okay, so there is also a question of putting suitable headings for each paragraph. For that purpose, we need to read the whole passage. Only for that type, maybe you'll have to read the first and second for sure. Okay. For yes, Kamal, I understand that. Sometimes for only that type of questions, you won't only depend on first sentence. Sometimes for that, you might need to read entire passage, only that type of question. But we are not talking about types of questions as yet. I'm talking about creating a passage map. Are we clear about it? I really want you to understand what that is and how you do it. Okay, cool.
Yes, sir, clear.
Cool. That's good. Okay, now let's move on. So now I'll give you this passage. There's a passage for you, and I want you to read through the passage quickly, but thoroughly, which means quickly, but at the same time, run your eye on the entire passage. We are going to skim for main idea. We need to understand what is the main idea of each paragraph. After you find it out, you'll write in the chat box the main idea of each paragraph. Okay, in 3 or 4 words. Do not write one word, because one word will not be an idea. 2, 3, 4, 4 maximum. 5 will be huge, but yes, it's okay. 4 to 5 should be fine. Make sense? Make a passage map. And what is passage map? It means what is first paragraph talking about, what is second paragraph talking about, what is third paragraph talking about, what is the fourth paragraph talking about. Right? Underline the topic sentence. So in real test, it's good idea to underline. This is a topic sentence. And you can also underline keywords. Okay, this is the main word. These are the details. Okay, like for example, earlier example I told you, I was talking about terrible day, then taxi, electricity, internet. You know, these are key ideas that I was talking about. So that's how you create a passage map. And then practice, practice, practice. Okay, so for understanding, now we are going to do matching headings, but I'll come to matching headings later. So this is a passage that I want you to read. I'll disappear so that you can look at the paragraph. So I want you to read the paragraph and tell me only by reading first sentence what this paragraph is going to talk about. You can look at others, but you have to pay attention on the first sentence. Read first sentence of first paragraph and try to understand what this passage will tell us. Maybe you run your eye on the other, but tell us the theme only by reading the first sentence. Okay, those who are telling me it's about leap year, the problem is I don't see first sentence is talking about leap year. Isn't it talking about how many days are there in a year? And when you say years in a day, leap year is one of the day in the year, or maybe a month, January, February, or whatever. But the entire passage is not about leap year. There is only one sentence of leap year, maybe. Let me check. Yes. Calendar of a year, length of a year, how many days there are in a year, isn't it? Exactly, entire calendar, year calendar. That's what we are going to learn about. Good. Good, 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 good. Let's do paragraph B now. Hina cannot hear me. Guys, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Sir, you are very much audible.
Okay, thank you. So we are now talking about second paragraph. What is it they are talking about? Okay, so exactly, we are going to learn all about Roman calendar, isn't it? We are going to learn about the structure of Roman calendar in this paragraph. Good. Exactly, that's how it is. So if there is a question about how many days are there, you'll go to first paragraph. If there's a question about the structure of Roman calendar, you'll go to second paragraph. Should we move on, guys? Okay, let's move on. Can you please find out what is this paragraph about? Structure of a month. Okay, Julius Caesar's calendar. Julius calendar is based on solar year. Calendar is based on solar year. Okay, good, good. Okay, so in this paragraph, we are going to learn about, isn't it the changes that Julius Caesar made? Formation of calendar or the changes that Julius Caesar made, isn't it, guys? Or readjustment that he brought? And then, yes, one of the changes is that he based on solar. So we'll learn more about, of course, in details, but mainly the idea is the challenges, reforms or challenges that he brought. Good. Okay, good. Now let's move on to paragraph D. Okay. So now in this paragraph, we are going to talk about positive things about one of the calendar, isn't it? We are going to learn about how this is accurate over the other. Exactly. Let's move on, guys. Can we move on? Let's move on. Can we move on, guys? Are you guys following me? I hope we are not going too fast. Okay, let's move on. Now, please do this also. Do E and F. Okay. In E, isn't it we are going to learn what they did to remove discrepancy, what they did to remove the problem, isn't it? This paragraph, isn't it that we are going to learn what they did to remove the problem, to remove the discrepancy? And I'm telling you only by looking at the first sentence. I'm not reading second, third, fourth sentence. Only by looking at first sentence, we are trying to understand. In this, is there a difference? Probably no. I don't think, at least first sentence doesn't say, Shahid, that it's about the difference. It's about what they did to remove the problem. Okay, let's look at F now. Kamal, which paragraph are you talking about? Shift to solar. E. By 16th, discrepancy between the solar year and the Julian calendar was notable. It doesn't talk about shift from anything. They only are talking about the reforms they made to remove the problem between two calendars. The removal of a problem between two calendars, more accurately, because they are saying had to be done, something had to be done. So they will tell us what they did. Okay, let's talk about F now, guys. Use of calendar where? In Europe, isn't it? In various parts of the world, in other words. Implementation of Gregorian calendar, yes. Good. Yes, implementation of, is it Georgian or Gregorian? What is it? Guys, Gregorian, yes. Use of calendar in countries, yes. Adaptation of that calendar in various parts of the world. In various parts of Europe. Okay, good. It makes sense. Good. Now should we move on to the last slide, guys? Exactly. We are going to learn about adjustments, challenges, isn't it? And challenges in relation to adoption. When they were adopting, what challenges they were facing, guys? The improvements in Greek. Is it talking about improvements? Yes, adjustment improvements. Yes, okay, okay. Cool, perfect. Now, I think we are doing good job. Yes, I can see really quite active participation, and I can see people are responding well. Now, let's talk about last paragraph. Conclusion is not the idea. You have to tell what they are saying in conclusion. Like, what is the conclusion? That's what we have to determine. And you can do it only by reading the first sentence. Okay, it's talking about solving the issue of difference between solar calendar and solar year, calendar year and solar year. So there is still difference between both. Variation, yes, good. The challenges of making both equal. That's absolutely right, yes. And then in the detail, we get to know there is a change of or difference of 26 seconds. Cool. Okay, guys, we have done this job. Let's review what we have done so far. Let's talk about it. So, number one, what we did, we read only first sentence. And from that first sentence, we were trying to predict what this entire paragraph is going to be about, didn't we? Now, let me tell you one thing. You won't be able to answer any question on the basis of this. We are not doing it for answering questions, right? Why? For questions, we'll have to go to them individually and do the questions again. Now, only favor that you got by reading it, it's easier to locate information. It'll be easier for you to locate. For example, if we are talking about adoption of this calendar in various countries, which paragraph you should go to? By now, you should know. You should go for G, isn't it? Right? If there's a question related to Gregorian calendar, where should you go? Right? If there is a question related to Julius Caesar's changes, the reformation in the calendar, where should you go? So exactly. So let's understand one thing. You are not going to answer any question based on this exercise. Are we clear about it, right? Now, this will only make your task easier to locate where the answer is. Okay? Therefore, you should not spend more than 4 or 5 minutes because you're not going to answer anything from this. This will only help you to develop familiarity with the text. This is called essay map. Make sense, guys? Should we move on? Now, this exercise that we did, this practice that we did now, you need to do that with all 3 passages. You need to do this with all 3 passages, right? So remember, let me repeat. For all passages, you'll spend 5 minutes only to understand what information is. On your passage, you should circle, you should underline, okay, this passage is talking about this. This passage is talking about it. Aladino cannot hear me. Can you hear me, guys? Write in the chat box if you can hear me. You can hear me. Okay, cool. So are we good? Yes, thank you. Good. So let me emphasize. You'll make passage map, which is hugely important. This will only develop your familiarity with the text. You won't answer any question based on what we did now. You need to understand this. You only are trying to build a connection, a familiarity with the text, right? And then for individual questions, you'll go. Okay. Should we go to the question types now? All right, go. Now we are doing one of the challenging questions, actually. Now, this question, this is the only question that comes before the passage. Like this is a passage, but this question comes before the passage. Right? Now, what we are supposed to do, this passage is called matching headings. This question is called matching headings. For this type of question, never read the headings before. Do not read them. Even if they come before the passage, don't read them. And let's understand the logic behind it. Because, you know, every paragraph will have a new information. If you read all, you'll be reading the information of other passages. It will confuse you. Do not read these headings. Number 1 strategy. Number 2 strategy, read paragraph 1 at a time. So go to paragraph now for this exercise. You cannot depend just on, because this is an exercise now for understanding the heading. Don't depend on first sentence. I'll suggest you to read first sentence and last sentence. Try to understand what this idea, this paragraph is talking about. It will take you probably 2 minutes. It's worth it. It's worth spending 2 minutes on that. So 1 minute for first sentence, 1 minute for second, and then maybe you'll look at the information in between also. So you'll skim, you won't read again, because you know, if you read for this, it's going to take time and you won't be able to finish. Although, if you cannot understand what this paragraph is talking about, I'll recommend reading it. Are we clear? Okay, so underline the topic sentence in each paragraph, which we already did, right? Once you have made the passage map, now if you are done the passage map, check the headings. So after that, probably based on your passage map, it's a lot easier. Now let's do one exercise together. Right. Let's now look at this paragraph one more time. For this time, I want you to spend a little longer, maybe read first sentence and last sentence, try to understand what this paragraph is talking about, then we'll come back to the question. And let me disappear so that you can focus. When you're sure what's the heading of this, please write in the chat box. Now let's go to the headings. So what are you going to write in your answer sheet? You will write, exactly, you will write that Roman letter. You will write. So if you are sure this is the answer, what you should do, you should highlight this so that you don't have to look at this again. So it means this one is done. Good job, guys. Good, 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 good. Now let's look at the second paragraph. But there has to be something about Roman calendar. Roman calendar is a topic, but what is it? They are going to talk about Roman calendar. You need to understand that. So what do you understand from the passage? Should I go take to the passage? Let's see. So what is it they are telling us about Roman calendar? Of course, it's about Roman calendar, but what is it? Okay, let's look at here now. Exactly, they are talking about deviation. They are talking about deviation of Roman calendar. Good. The last sentence is telling us. So in the answer, you will write this Roman word. The problem with early Roman calendar. Exactly. Let's move on. So finish it and then we'll talk about that. Okay, so some of you are writing six. Six can't be the answer. Let me see what is six. Sorry, guys. Let me check what is six. Six is priest and the calendar. How can that be? There's no mention of the priest. Okay, so we are talking about adjustment by someone. Okay, cool. Let's go to the paragraphs now. To the heading, sorry. Now, Zulfikar, why 4 cannot be possible? I think you're doing for earlier one. In this one, didn't we learn what is a structure or how this operates? Number 7. So you will write the Roman letter 7 in the answer. Yes, good. We are making really nice progress. Good job. So what you'll do on your IELTS booklet, you will cut it. You'll adopt this. You will highlight it so that you should know this is done and you pay attention to the rest. Can you please read now D? Do you want me to go to the headings now? Let's look at now. Number 3 says. Number 3 is early adoption of the Gregorian calendar. Now let's look at this. D. There is nothing about Gregorian calendar. Why would that be? Number 6, priest. There is nothing about priest as well. Let me check. Oh, sorry, this one. Isn't it talking about the problems of something? Okay, you got deceived by this word, far more accurate. What is the meaning of far more accurate? Does it mean it's accurate? And what is the meaning of even so? It means even if it is accurate, there are problems. And far more accurate means it's only better than earlier one. It doesn't mean it's perfect. So what's the topic now? So what's the number now? Exactly. The problem, exactly. Yes, that's the topic, because it says it's far more accurate than one, even though. It means even then, these are the problems. Good. That's really good. Okay, now let's talk about what? Let's talk about these paragraphs, sorry. So something was done, and what was that something? What was done? Let's look at headings.
Sir, 5 question. Why some countries were late to change their countries? Tell me, sir.
Can you please write your question in the chat box? Okay, I think most of you are going wrong. Okay, one person is right. Let's understand this. The paragraph says, that something had to be done. There was a discrepancy and something had to be done. As a result, what happened? This happened. New calendar developed that would have these many qualities. And then these are qualities of that. So now tell me what happened. Number 3 is adoption. It's not adoption. Adoption comes after its development. This paragraph is only talking about its development. Adoption means once it's developed, then you adopt. So you are closer, but it's not adopted yet. So the answer is definitely number 10. Good job. 8, the problem with the solar year. Nope. In this paragraph, we didn't talk about solar years problem. Although we touched it, but that's not the main idea. Okay, we are here in number F now. Can you please do number F? Okay, let's go to headings now. Now we are talking about early adoption of the calendar. Good job. See, after you do this exercise, it starts getting easier. The first 2, 3 may be challenging. Then you have lesser options and it's a lot easier to do. This exercise can be time taking, but at the same time can help you in scoring high on IELTS. Let's do last set of questions. Let me take you to paragraphs now. So you will write in the exam the Roman letter. Do not write 5. If you write 5, your answer will be wrong. So understand that. Okay, is it clear, guys? Should we move on? We are here. Last paragraph. Kashif says is number 8. Let's see what's number 8. The problem of the solar year. Maybe think again. Are they still talking about problem, or they are talking about something else? Here they are not talking about the problem. In fact, they are talking about the solution to the problem. Yes, exactly. That's number 9. So, yes, guys. So we did this one exercise of matching headings, and then we also talked about some overview strategy. So what you are taking away from this session that we have is understand the importance of skimming and how quickly you should do it. How quickly you should know the topic sentence. How quickly you should know the main idea. But do not depend on essay map or passage map for answering questions. That won't help you. For questions, you'll have to go again, right? So this will only build your familiarity. That's what we are trying to say. I think that's the only thing, although I thought we'll be doing quite many things, but because of time constraints, we could only reach to one question. Maybe I'll plan another lesson also where we can do rest of the exercises also. I hope this helped you. And if it has helped you, then please also write your feedback on my Facebook so that I should feel encouraged that I did help you and that I should continue doing it. Thank you so much, guys. I think we can do one more exercise, but it's been one class, so it's been quite intensive. I hope it was helpful to you. At least you got to learn something. We'll do another class for writing. Yes, next class that we are doing is going to be for writing task 1. We'll do writing task 1 on next Sunday. That's what the plan is. Okay, so okay, cool. So thank you very much, guys. I have told you initial strategies. Adopt these strategies and then go adopt them. But then for all other questions, there is different strategy is required. So at least we are able to learn that. So thank you so much your appreciation here, but do appreciate me on my Facebook also so that it goes to other people also. And then in the next class, which we are doing on writing task 1. Next class we are doing on writing task 1 on Sunday. I think 2 hours should be more than enough for that task because that's not that difficult. So thank you so much. Take good care of yourself. And thank you for joining me. I will try to upload. If not, then I'll make other videos because here it's been more of interaction. It has gone really long, so maybe I'll not be able to put it, but I'll make other shorter videos of 30 minutes and then I'll be putting it there. Recording is with me, so I'll put other videos, if not this one, because this will require huge editing. So thank you so much, guys. And don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel also, okay? If you have any question, I'm still there. I'm still there 10 minutes, 9 minutes, because I planned for 1.5 hours. So I'm still here 9 minutes. If you have any question related to this, you are most welcome. Some points we missed due to internet. Yes, that I understand. Yes, people who are coming and going.
Yes, sir. I want to ask you a question.
Please.
Can you hear me, sir?
I can absolutely hear you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, my question is simple that you have taught us so many strategies for reading. My question is that I think it will be helpful in all the common tests like IBA tests and other tests because there comes paragraph about answering the question. So it can be or not.
I can't answer that. I really don't know because these strategies that I'm telling now are exclusively for IELTS question types. So I don't know if they can help in any, but if you know how to read well, how to understand well, it's going to definitely help you also. And these people also take those questions more similar to IELTS type, so it's going to help you. I have given the link in the chat box, guys, for my YouTube channel, so you can subscribe. So have I answered your question, Ms. Gosia? Did you understand that?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, you have answered my question, and I think you're correct.
Okay, thank you. So any question, I'm still there. 8 minutes more, I'll answer any question that you have.
Hello, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. If there is no questions, we are done. Next week, we are doing IELTS writing task 1. So I hope you'll join and others will join also. Thank you so much, guys. Yes, Miss Sugra, if you have any question, go ahead. I can see your hand raised.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, my question is that if I have a shortage of time and I have a long paragraph and so many questions, so how can I attempt those questions in a shortage of time? Means what is the technique to accomplish the paragraph by giving a correct answers?
You're talking about IELTS, right? IELTS questions.
Is it yes? Is it possible to read a first line of the paragraph and the last line of paragraph and give accurate answers? Can we get the answers accurately? Means from first and the last sentence of the paragraph.
Yes, it's really good question that you asked. See, if you spend more time on first passage and then you spend more time on second passage, you have got only 10 minutes left for the last passage. You don't have time. And then how quickly you can do it, right? That's your question.
Yes,
In
sir.
that case, yes, definitely you'll have to depend on first sentence and last sentence of each paragraph and see if you can do it, because that will increase possibility of right answers. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult because you know what I was trying to say is, after skimming, answering question becomes easier. You don't answer them, you can't answer them, but it is helpful in answering. So maybe some of the questions can be answered. If at all, that can be the only strategy that you should adopt. Read the first sentence of each paragraph, the last one, and then see if you can answer the questions. I hope I have answered your question. If there's any follow-up question, you're most welcome.
Yes, sir, I got it. But my question is that if there are so many questions from a passage, but my question is that can we get the answer of those questions from a first and a second, from first and a last of the sentences of the paragraph, or is
No,
it
it's
really
less
important
likely.
to read all of the passage?
It's really you mean first and last sentence of each paragraph, or first paragraph and last paragraph?
Each paragraph, sir.
First sentence and last sentence of each paragraph. Yes, definitely. You will not be able to answer all the questions, but maybe majority of
Yes,
them
sir.
you can. Not, you can't answer all. Absolutely not. It's impossible to answer all the
So,
questions.
sir, I have noticed in your lecture that mostly I have answered all of your questions. So technique was in your lecture is that I got answers from a first and a
First and last.
last line of the each paragraph. So that's why I'm
Okay.
asking this question
Only
from
for
you.
this type of question. That's, see, only for this type of question. Other questions will be from the middle. You know, this question is not from the middle. This is from the top and the last one. If you're asking question about this type, then yes, there are strong chances you can do.
Network error.
Yes, I'm sorry I got it wrong, but now we are clear, right? Are we clear now? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Abbas, Heather, if you have any question. Yes, Sugra, absolutely right. If the question is of this type, only for this one, yes, because this is matching heading. But for other types, no,
Yes,
because
sir.
other comes from middle.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. Yes, Abbas, Heather, I'm still here 3 minutes. So if you have any question, we can talk about that.
Sir, my question is clear. My question was that is this a strategy for skimming is all type of question, or this heading matching particular?
All type of questions. Skim is required for all type of questions. Let me
Means
see.
skimming, like I think skimming means reading first and last sentence of each paragraph.
First should be
Skimming.
sufficient. You would know the passage from the first. Normally, I'll only recommend first sentence.
So it is possible to read first and last to answer all the question, or just these?
No. Let me make it very clear, guys. Please do not answer question after skimming. You can't answer. Skimming is a help to answer questions. For each questions, you have to go to paragraph again and again, as we did today. We didn't answer based on our skimming. Okay, but skimming made the task easier. Are we clear, Heather Abbas? Or Abbas?
Yes, sir. Now clear now.
All right, thank you. If you have any
Please, sir, arrange. If possible, please arrange another on reading so that we cover all types of questions. If possible,
Next,
that's our
actually, you
request.
know what? Why I have adopted this strategy. I actually take classes, regular classes, paid classes, and when I finish any skill there, so I kind of take it here for my audience for free. For other classes, it's going to take very long, 2 hours on all. There are 9 types of questions, which means 9 weeks. It's going to take really long. Next week, we'll do writing. And after that, we'll do writing task 2. So we'll cover this way instead of each skill like this. It's going to take huge time. Okay, because some things should be exclusively for my paid audience as well. And then I'm trying to help others also who can't pay. All right, thank you, everybody. This is where we've reached to the end of our session. Thank you for being so engaging, so interactive. I thoroughly enjoyed it, to be honest. I love teaching, and this has given me encouragement to continue doing it. Next week we are doing IELTS writing task 1. Take good care. Please don't forget to follow and comment on my social media. Take good care. Bye-bye.